welcome to a very soggy Sears Point, California. I talk about California, you think about May. It's not supposed to rain like this in May in California. And in fact, I believe it's caught many of these teams out. This morning, it was so wet that the cars were a full 30 seconds a lap slower than what they were in the dry.
Problems for one of the key cars in the field today, Bill Adam. This is John Field's 675 prototype car, fourth quick qualifier.
You can see he does have power, that the telemetry on the steering wheel, trying to restart it. A frantic time for him right now. Well, the most exotic of all, the LMP 900, 1,980 pounds minimum weight. There it is. That's the best today, the LMP car. Johnny Herbert, Andy Wallace, Tom Christensen, ADT champion, their first ever pole. The LMP 675, less weight. See, they're down to 1,485 pounds. John Field, Rick Sutherland, they're Lola, blindingly fast. Moving down to the GTS class, these are the big thumpers, the Corvettes, the Vipers, the Ferrari. And the fastest today, well, Canadian Ron Fellows and American Johnny O'Connell, that number 3 Corvette, they have been dominant in it. Finally moving back to the GT class, and Kevin Buckler, hometown hero, along with Marino Franchitti. Great victory for them already in qualifying.
Tom Christensen starting on the pole, single file start for the first time today. We're glad you're with us on Speed Channel, and the American Le Mans Series is underway.
Oh, and Christensen absolutely nailed the start. He got just what he needed. He got a buffer, which will give him the luxury of being able to put the brakes on a little bit early, kind of feel his way around the track and not worry. Look at the Audi too, trying to get powered out, and there he goes. Oh my!
Panos moves by to second spot. That's the David Brabham and Jan Magnussen car.
He got phenomenal traction off that turn. You saw the Audi actually kind of crabbing sideways a bit, a little bit of wheel spin.
So the 38 car and one car, the 62, Rich Grupp's machine in trouble. Hampton and Grupp, this is a 675 prototype, started at the back of the grid. Ryan Hampton from Scottsdale, Arizona, starting the car today for the lead down into turn 11, and the Panos, Brabham takes over.
And that's just what we talked about. Again, the Audi gets a little bit of wheel spin coming off the corner. Look at the Panos. He is able to get so much power down. And wow, boy, there is a battle taking place right there between the Corvette and the Celine.
This is
right
for
on
the
its tail.
top spot in GTS. Ron Fellows out of Canada starting the 3 car today, and he is the leader. Gary Borgeller in the 26 right behind him. Of course, the Celine facing heavy restrictions at Sebring for the season opener compared to what they had and what they could use power-wise last season.
The car on the tail of the Celine, I think that's another great story. That is a green Ferrari 550 Maranello. That's Raffinelli Racing, the Olive Garden car. They've returned to the ALMS this year. It is a brand new car, and Mr. Raffinelli said that so far, even this early in its development, it's only its second race, he has already spent over $1 million.
Back at Sears Point, the conditions causing problems for the Yost Audi. This is Dindo Capello. Bill, he spun into the grass. He's got the car on the racetrack, but had trouble getting it refired.
And suddenly, as he tries to get any sort of power down, just gets sideways and slams the barrier. I mean, that fast, it's that easy.
Now we are under full course caution. Rich Grupp in the 62 car had gone off the course, backed into a barrier. Actually, Ryan Hampton starting the 62. He's up in turn 1 on the outside of the racetrack, so they will go and get the 62 car. He's not in a safe location right there as the field comes out behind the safety car for the second time today. Dindo Capello decides to bring the 1 car down onto pit road. He is unbuckling already, Bill. They'll do a driver change here.
Well, one of the difficulties is that with the Audi contracts, they all are allowed an equal chance at the championship, which means they all have to get in the car. It's not something you want today. You would like to be able to keep a driver in, run a double shift, and save the time.
Green flag back out as we begin lap number 13 here at Sears Point. Taking a look at your leaders, here come the GTS cars. The 3 with Ron Fellows, that's the Corvette out in front. Now we thought that the Ferrari, Naspetti in the Olive Garden car had taken the GTS lead. IMSA officials put him back behind. They ruled the pass had come after the yellow was waved. Trouble for the Nighthawk car again. Looks like they have spun coming up onto the front straightaway. The 11 car, and that was Chad Block at the wheel. We'll take a look here as the green was reappearing coming through the final corner.
Oh boy, just that little bit too much power. You could see that he was trying to take a tight inside line to maybe get a good run on a couple of the GT Porsches, and that's all it took.
45 car at GTS off the racetrack in the mud, one of the American Viper Racing cars. Shane Lewis, the great veteran from the West Coast, a very fine closed car driver.
The other drivers have to watch for it. Oh, look at this. Oh, come on, Shane.
2 GT leaders continue to be those 2 Porsches you see from the Alex Job team, the McKenna Porsches, the 22 and the 23.
Look at Christensen trying the outside move.
Tom Christensen, he's trying to use the Porsche as a pick to get the lead from Brabham. Couldn't do it on board with Lucas Luhr.
Wow, is that a spectacular picture? Now, Lucas Luhr also, he has lost the lead for his class. That's his own teammate.
York Bergmeister getting by.
Well, the 51 Paynos has come into the pit. Bill Auberlen is staying in the car, and they have got scrubbed Michelin slick tires ready to put on.
You know what? I agree with that. Yeah. I think that's a good call. This track is dry enough.
Troubles for the 99, the Larry Schumacher car. David Murray on board. Looks as though he's got a tire or perhaps a suspension failure in the right front corner of that car.
Yeah, I think it's something has broken because the tire was just motionless at that point.
Biela to the S's. Biela is 4th overall, and he is 1 lap down, not on the lead lap at this point, not a full lap down, but 1 lap behind on the score chart to David Brabham and Tom Christensen. Meantime, for 5th, 6th, and 7th, the 2 Pano 07 cars from the MBD team battling. The 18 and the 17, Didier de Radigues is the 18 and 5th overall, Scott Maxwell 6th overall, and Chris Dyson. And the Dyson, Riley, and Scott, the oldest car in the field, I think it'd be safe to say, 7th overall.
Yes, Kevin Buckler is getting out of the car, and in fact, it seemed like the team was not ready. For Marino Franchitti, of course, younger brother for Dario Franchitti, was not ready. Had to quickly put the helmet on, as I thought that Marino normally wore the Hans device, but to save time, he quickly just jammed the helmet on. This appears to be an unscheduled stop.
On board with the 4 of Andy Pilgrim, that Corvette and GTS continuing to struggle. The 4 car up to 12th now. They're starting to gain some ground. Perhaps they're finding the grip that they were lacking earlier.
Look at Brabham get sideways.
For the lead, Christensen gets by as Brabham wiggles the 50 car, and there goes the champion ADT 38 car to the lead.
And Tom just stuck it up the inside. Look at the gentle slide there.
Yeah.
Brabham a little more of a slide on the outside, and he had to back off the throttle just slightly.
What a great battle we've got going. Meantime, for 3rd overall, young Clint Field. This is John's son in the Lola B2K chassis car with the Judd motor. We rode with John. Certainly want to thank John for allowing us to use the helmet cam. Here's Biela to the inside of Clint Field for 3rd in the carousel, and he's got it. Brabham brings the 50 onto pit road. This car led a lot of the early laps today.
Right, the car is now off the decks, and the slick tires are being put on. These are scrubbed slicks, so they've already had 1 heat cycle in them.
Watching the 38 car come to pit road.
Of course, the big story, if you've been following with Johnny Herbert, is that Johnny Herbert, this is the first car that he sat in today. He was hoping to sit in the car for qualifying for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. At the last minute, he changed his mind, and today he sits in a car for the first time, has not been out of these slick conditions, and after a disappointing run in Indianapolis, this has got to feel good.
And through the pit stop cycle, Bill, we've had another lead change. John Magnuson has the Paynos, the 50 car, back out in front, and now he's right up behind Emanuele Pirro in car number 1.
Yeah, they got back to speed much faster than the champion Audi did, and I think it was just a case of Jan Magnussen being more familiar with the track, more familiar with conditions. He was out earlier today under completely wet conditions and drove this car so fast. So to come back out with new slick tires on damp, it won't bother him at all. Like I say, Pirro will not do anything to help. I mean, there certainly will not be any fact. Oh,
he had to lock the brakes up, didn't Magnussen?
Look at this, shades of NASCAR. There's pieces came off the car right there.
Bill Auberlen is right there as well in the 51. Here's the contact a moment ago going up through turn 4 and 5.
Now, they're going to go up the hill, and you can see, watch this. Now, there's something right there, it looks like, that came off.
One of Kevin Buckler's Racers Group cars off the course, the 67. That's Robert Orcutt driving that machine, and he has stuffed it into the tires.
I'll bet his heart rate's about 400 right there. Look at the tire.
Cut down tire on the left rear.
That's exactly what it was.
Herbert, meantime, with problems.
The champion car had smoke right there.
Orcutt's back on the track. Let's see if we can find the champion Audi here. Look at the motor smoke apparently out of the back end of that car, Bill.
I don't know what that could be. That looks like it's coming right down through the tunnel.
Big crash, and that looks as though it's the car number 1. That's Emanuele Pirro and the Yost Audi, the car they borrowed from Champion. Both of the Audis, Bill, it looks as though they are going to be in serious jeopardy. Obviously, this car done for the day. The 44 car, we're told, is off the racetrack as well. One of Tom Weikart's American Viper Racing GTS cars. Look at this.
Oh, my God.
Pirro trying to drive the 1 car out of the muck and back onto the racetrack.
Well, we just talked about the strength of those cars. It's quickly becoming legendary, but how this thing is even moving, I have no idea.
That is amazing. Unbelievable. Back to Jan Beekes in the champion pit.
In the process of changing the 4 tires, including the one that was shredded on the right front. It does appear as though if they can get all the mud and get all the ducting cleared out, that they may be able to send Johnny Herbert, number 38, back out again.
Right rear badly bent. They're going to go straight to the garage area and try to change out the whole rear section of the car.
Yeah, if that had happened to your street car, you'd have been parked there for about a month waiting for parts. And this race car sustains this huge impact. Well, we just talked about that legendary strength.
Back just in time for the restart at Sears Point. Green flag out in the Panos with Jan Magnussen skates off to a very strong lead over Johnny Herbert. Brian Herta now has gotten into the 51. He's up to third. Meantime, they have changed the rear end in the one car, and here comes Emanuele Pirro. Now the question, Bill, is how good will the car be after that?
It'll be perfect. It'll be absolutely perfect. This is something they actually practice. They mount the spare rear end on. They make sure that it's all set up to the same suspension settings, the same alignment. Everything will be exactly as it was before the crash. So again, one more thing that's an attention to detail.
And Pirro is back on the racetrack. We're told he's been off once since returning, so there may be something bent or broken in the front end of that car that we can't see, Bill.
What? Just violent changes, and it looks like that's almost like a suspension problem where the toe is changing on the car. Look at the left front wheel just violently back and forth as if he's almost turning the steering wheel as quickly as he could from lock to lock.
57 laps complete, and we've got a caution at one part of the racetrack, the Peterson portion, GT, the 31 car, off the racetrack just at the entrance to turn one. Mike Peterson, Johnny Mollem, Randy Popes sharing that car.
Now the other thing, getting back to the overall lead, right now the gap is really dwindling in a hurry because Johnny Herbert is running a second and a half a lap quicker, but keep in mind, Jan Magnussen has a full lap advantage.
One of the Vipers again, the 44 car, Tom Weikert's American Viper racing machine, a huge hit into the wall. This is the 45 car, one of the two team cars. There he is, just at the top left, you could see the Viper scattering tires everywhere, and that's why soft walls are such a good idea. Jan Bikas, one of the key GT teams, has been on pit road as well.
It was the 23 car, of course, the leading GT Alex Job entry, and they didn't need fuel. There was really no reason for them to come on the pit road except they want to make it fair for the driver. Sasha Maassen had the most laps driven at Sebring, so they just came in to change drivers to put Lucas Luhr in so that he'll be driving the most laps today and get one extra championship point. That's some confidence when you're in the lead.
As they come out of turn 11, coming to the kink, which is turn 12, ready for a restart this time by.
Now that should have been a black flag right there, some sort of a penalty, because one car passed the other before the flag was even shown.
Brian Herta there, the 51, third overall. The other Panos, three Panos is in trouble for the 37 car again. John Fields, Banana Joe's 675 prototype, GTS leader. Car number 3, the Good Wrench Corvette. Johnny O'Connell driving the car. He's just been passed by James Weaver in the Dyson 16 for 4th overall. And look at this, what a great run by the 4 car. Now second in GTS, Kelly Collins and Andy Pilgrim sharing the 4. They were having a bad day early in the going. Through about halfway in the race, they were stuck back in 18th, 19th, 20th spot, Bill.
And I think credit goes to them for not panicking at that point. If things weren't going particularly well, they didn't want to panic and throw away the strong possibility of a good finish anyway. And this is really paying dividends for them. Talking of mistakes.
Hard. At the bottom of the short straightaway, coming toward the carousel. We can't see the car, but we can tell from the smoke and the skid marks someone has gone off huge.
Now we've had a report that it might have been the 26 car. We do not know at this point, but
well, from that first shot we saw with the smoke still in the air, I would have thought whatever car went off was still in that spot, but perhaps not. Scattarella to the outside of Borcheller, going for 3rd spot in GTS, and he's got it.
Cleanly got him. It looked like Borcheller just had the back end wiggling a little bit there. I wonder if it looks like he's losing tires.
And it was Borcheller, we're told, who went off. Let's see if we can get a good look at it.
Wow.
Right by our camera position and off the racetrack. Into the foam barrier, and there was still smoke in the air when he brought that car back on the racetrack. And the Conrad Celine is on pit road, front body work off. That's not a good sign late in the going. Looks like they're pulling some wiring pieces off the front end of that car. Now this is a rear engine car. Take a look at a replay, top right of your screen here, coming through the S's again.
The same place that Viper went off.
And the hood blows off.
Wow.
You can see Magnussen. He's got to pick his way around some slower cars. Moving by Ben Devlin's machine. Here comes Herbert.
No, it's going to be close, but not enough. Panos is going to pull off a huge victory today.
There's the Banana Joe's Lola. That is not the lead car. Here's your leader. Magnussen out of turn 11. Heading to 12. He's got to navigate one of the GT cars and head to the stripe.
And that's
Contact, and there he is. Jan Magnussen takes the checkered flag, wins the second round of the American Le Mans Series season here at Sears Point. Back behind him, there was contact between a couple of other cars. The 18 machine in trouble coming to the stripe.
Now look,
it was Herbert. Herbert and John Graham. That's how close Herbert was to Magnussen when they came to the line.
Boy, oh boy.
And here comes the Alex Joe Porsche to take the checkers in GT. Lucas Luhr at the wheel. They are 6th overall. What an outstanding run for the McKenna team here today.
Really tremendous. Another great job for Alex and Holly. What a nice couple they are, and they just deserve this so much.
In the beginning, when we got the big gap, I thought I had time and I could just cruise around. We did go, I think, a little bit towards the wet setup, too much towards one. So when I really had to push towards the end, I was pushing as hard as I could. But lap times were a good 5-6 seconds off what we should be doing. So obviously a little bit exciting. So the gap kept coming down. Those big chunks that kept down. So
Johnny, your team car had some trouble in the rain getting tire temperatures, but for you guys, it looked routine today.
Yeah, I tell you, really the credit for this one's got to go to Ron. He gave me a huge lead. I mean, shoot, after I think we were up on by a lap by the time I finally got in the car. So it was just a matter of me looking after the Corvette. And man, once again, everyone at Pratt & Miller gave us a great car, and K-Tech guys gave us a great engine, and shoot, once again, we showed Goodyear is the best tire to have in the wet.
Lucas Luhr and Sasha Masson, another victory.
Yeah, thank you very much. We were really happy about it, and we were a little bit fortunate with the yellows again, like in Sebring, and so we established also 6th position overall. That is incredible for a GT car, and well, Lucas did in the wet a great job, and this was the basic for our success.
Final results, the 50 car, the Panos scores their first victory of the year. Jan Magnussen and David Brabham. The 38, the car of Johnny Herbert, Tom Christensen, Andy Wallace didn't get in that car today. They come home second. The other Panos, the 51 of Brian Herta and Bill Oberlin, and James Weaver and Chris Dyson finish 4th in the 16 car.